and welcome to Channel 4. In an hour, our brand new Bake Off professionals make the very risky move of changing the classic full English. Good luck. For now, it's your Tuesday night Channel 4 news with Krishnan Guru-Murthy live from London and Ayshah Tull live from Leeds.
The Brits who joined Ukraine's Foreign Legion, what life on the front line means for the volunteers who went to defend democracy.
It was chaos, absolute chaos. The support from the Ukrainian military just was non-existent.
Good evening. Ukraine is again appealing for more weapons as Russian forces advanced on the city of Severodonetsk. And the governor of the region of Donetsk said the whole area is now a battlefield. Moscow also got a boost as the EU agreed to water down its sanctions, keeping billions flowing to the Kremlin. Tonight, we continue our exclusive series into Britons on the front line. A former Royal Navy engineer who joined Ukraine's Foreign Legion reveals the chaos of the early days of fighting and how volunteers simply didn't have basic kit or even food unless they bought it themselves. We'll be speaking to the former Ukrainian Defence Minister.
Also tonight, Boris Johnson faces new questions over Partygate. There's strong criticism from his independent advisor on parliamentary standards over whether Mr. Johnson's actions broke the ministerial code, and the no-confidence calls in the PM's leadership mount up. Give more children free school meals. Teachers' unions in England call for support as they say kids are going hungry and parents struggle to afford dinners. And did the travel industry not see a rush coming? A rather miserable start to holidays as passengers tried to get away for half-term and the Platinum Jubilee weekend.
The whole territory of Donetsk in eastern Ukraine is now a battlefield, according to the region's governor, who says every civilian there has become a target for the Russians. While there's street fighting taking place in the centre of Ukraine's last major city stronghold as they try to resist the advancing Russian troops. But amid the chaos of war, there are claims of chronic shortages of military kit, ammunition, and even food, a lack of clear intelligence and leadership, and a fierce and brutal enemy. Tonight, we hear a candid first-hand account of life on the front line in Ukraine from a former military British fighter who signed up to fight the Russians. Well, joining me now is Andrei Zagorodnyuk, who's the former Defence Minister of Ukraine. We heard there a British volunteer who went to Ukraine, along with hundreds of others who wanted to join the fight and to help your country, talking about the difficulties in those early days of the war. What were the difficulties from your point of view in organising that group of people who came? Andrei Zagorodnyuk, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, later in the programme, we'll be reporting from the front lines in Donbass, where Ukrainian forces are facing that relentless Russian onslaught.
Now, Boris Johnson has been severely criticised by his independent advisor on the ministerial code. Lord Geit said the Prime Minister had not heeded his advice to explain publicly whether or not his fixed penalty notice for breaking COVID regulations meant he had broken the code. It's yet another problem for the Prime Minister, who is fending off daily calls from his own backbenchers for a vote of no confidence in his leadership. Let's get more now from our policy correspondent, Paul McNamara, who is in Westminster. Now, Paul, how bad is this for the Prime Minister? Dominic Grieve, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Now, rape survivors are often treated like suspects, according to a new report by the Information Watchdog, and asked to provide police with medical records, social services files, and even hand over their phones. The regulator described it as a digital strip search and said it wasn't surprising that so many victims of sexual crimes decided not to go ahead with the legal process at all. The Home Office say they're working to improve the police response. Minnie Stevenson reports. Survivor Natasha Saunders speaking to Minnie Stevenson there. And if you've been affected by any issues surrounding sexual assault, there are a range of places to find help on channel4.com/support. Well, joining me now from Manchester is Yasmin Leeds, who is the independent sexual violence advisor at Greater Manchester Rape Crisis Centre. She works to support victims throughout the criminal justice process. Now, Yasmin, what is it like usually for victims when they have to hand over all of this data, give over their phones and everything after what they've been through? Yasmin Leeds, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Now, teaching unions have written to the Chancellor asking for the free school meal scheme in England to apply to all pupils whose families are on universal credit. They claim that the cost of living crisis has left many more children struggling to afford a school lunch, but don't qualify for what they call the restrictive criteria for free meals. In England, 1.7 million children, around 1 in 5 pupils, are eligible for free school meals, but only if their family's household income doesn't exceed £7,400 after tax, not including welfare payments. But teaching unions and charities say free school meals should be extended to all families receiving universal credit, helping another 1.5 million children. The Food Foundation estimates such a move would cost an extra £670 million a year. The government says it's already providing an extra £15 billion to help with the cost of living. Well, joining me now is Pepe D'Azio, who is a head teacher of Wales High School in Rotherham and the president of the Association of School and College Leaders. Now, Pepe, what is the situation at your school for your pupils? Okay, Pepe D'Azio, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Well, back now to the news in Ukraine, where Russia has been focusing its firepower in Donbass. Officials there say the shelling has been so intense, it's been impossible to assess the extent of the casualties and destruction. Our team have travelled to the northern front line in Donbass to speak to soldiers about life under relentless Russian bombardment. Porrick O'Brien joins us now from Pokrovsk. Porrick O'Brien reporting. Now, the Home Office has begun issuing formal removal notices to people due to be sent to Rwanda. The government described the move as the final administrative step in a plan which will see some migrants who are deemed to have entered the UK illegally deported to the African country. The first flight is due to leave in 2 weeks' time after previously being delayed by a legal challenge.
After the break, going nowhere. Welcome to the Jubilee bank holiday getaway chaos amid cancelled flights and huge queues. It's not such a happy time for some. Welcome back. Now, it's been a miserable start for many holidaymakers, hoping the Jubilee bank holiday weekend would be the chance for a foreign getaway. The travel firm TUI is cancelling hundreds of flights at Manchester Airport, blaming operational reasons. There were also chaotic scenes and lengthy queues at other airports, including Heathrow and Bristol, while some passengers at Manchester were left with nowhere to go. Jane Dodge has been speaking to one family whose long-awaited holiday plans were ruined. Jane Dodge reporting. And Bradford has just been named the UK City of Culture for 2025, winning over rival finalists County Durham, Southampton and Wrexham County Borough. The decision was announced in the last hour by the Culture Secretary Nadine Dorris. The team behind the bid called it an exciting new chapter in our story. Congrats to them. Well, that's all from the team in Leeds and Krish in London. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Still cordless garden power tools, proud sponsors of Channel 4 Weather.